Okay, this one's just like the previous problem, except we're not going to take as long to do it. Basically, they want to know when f of x equals g of x. So think about this. F of x equals g of x. But to make our lives easier, if I subtract g of x from both sides, what I'm really looking for is when does f of x minus g of x equal 0. All right, so we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to say f of x minus g of x. Now remember, we're going to distribute that negative 1 through the parentheses like this. So this becomes negative 3x plus 2, because negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. And all this other stuff remains the same. Now the only thing that's different is they tell us specifically what increment to use. We're not going to do the iteration. We're just going to look for the increment. All right. So we pull up our calculator. And oops, we want to plug in this equation. Let me make it bigger. So let's do this. Clear this out. And then in parentheses, I'm going to put x minus 1. This is the numerator of the first function. Oops. Divided by, in parentheses, the denominator, which is going to be x squared. Oh, it's frustrating. X squared plus x minus 1, close parentheses. Then we're going to minus 3 to the x, and then we're going to add 2. Dang it, I did it again. Add 2. And for our table set, it says to the nearest quarter unit. So I'm going to put, I don't know where the solution is, so I don't know where to start. So I'm going to put 0. And then I'm going to go down here and say 1 divided by 4, because that's 1/4, right? So now if I hit second table, this is our thing where everything's evaluated. And what I'm really looking for is when does this thing go from negative to positive? There's a couple spots. But what I'm really looking for is when is it the lowest positive, right? So it says using the table of values, find when they're the closest. So this is, let me explain what I'm talking about. So there's lots of places. If I look at, well, here it goes from positive to negative, positive to negative. But this is not really close to 0. What I'm looking for is a y value that's really close to 0. So it goes from negative 1 to positive 2, and that doesn't help. It means it intersects for sure. Well, it doesn't mean for sure, but it means it gets close. But what I'm really looking for is a value that's really close to 0. Now here I have 0.12. That's really the answer. When does that occur? When x equals 0.25. Or, I mean, negative 2.25. So it sounds weird, or it might be a little confusing. It's confusing as I say it, I guess. But that's how you tell, is look for the y value that's closest to 0. And that's the one.